Welcome, everyone. Tewksbury Zoning Board of Appeals for November 19th, 2020 is in session. All right. First of all, let me read this. If you'd like to call in, the number no longer appears at the bottom of the screen. So for people that are watching on TV, the call-in number is 781-565-8134. Again, 781-565-8134. All right. First item on the agenda, the approval of the minutes from October 29th, 2020.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting of the minutes from October 29th, 2020.
Motion has been made.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Dan, you with us?
Yes.
Yep.
Dan, you're breaking up.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Down.
Dan, do you have a headset that you can use? Do you have a headset that you can use? You sound terrible tonight. Yeah, we got to do something with you. You're very, very choppy.
Choppy. Mm-hmm.
We'll wait for you. See if you can find a headset. Or just leave.
No.
So this is one of the new rules for the people who don't know. When we lose a board member, we have to wait. We wait for them to come back. So here we are waiting. Ah, Attorney Zarulis, you fixed your camera.
Hope so. Can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can see you. Perfect.
Difficulty. WebEx appears to be more complex than Zoom.
I'm fortunate my kids are all out of school, so I don't have the pleasure of using Zoom. So this one here is all I know. But Dan's coming back.
We use both.
Say it again, Dan. Not really. Try it though. Still choppy.
All right, why don't you try to tell us what the problem is on page 2? Say it slowly, because we hear about every third word you say.
To
I can understand what he's saying. I'll correct it.
Thank you, Melissa.
All right, so the motion has been made and seconded with corrections. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Dan, give me a thumbs up or something, will you? All right. The vote is unanimous. Okay. First item on the agenda, Melissa, please. The continued hearing.
Live Life Homes LLC for a variance under section 4130 Appendix B for minimum lot area of the Tewksbury zoning bylaw to construct a single-family home as shown on plans filed with this board. Said property is located at 60 Shawshene Avenue, Assessors Map 112, Lot 69, Zones Residential.
All right. And again, if you look, board members, in your packet,
hmm
we have a letter, and they're asking to be continued to our 12/17 hearing. We're going to have to continue the hearing being held Thursday for 60 Shawshene Ave. We are waiting for the building inspector to issue a building permit, then we will withdraw. So right now they're looking for a continuance till December 17th. If someone would like to make that motion.
I'll motion.
Who's that? Is
Yep.
that you, Michael?
Mike, yep.
All
You
right.
gotta read it out, Michael.
Yeah, I'm gonna read. Okay, I'll approve the motion to request a continuation to Life Homes for variance under section 4130 Appendix B for minimum lot area of the Tewksbury zoning bylaw to construct a single family home as shown on plans filed by this board. The said property is located at 60 Shawshene Ave, Assessors Map 112, Lot 69, Zone Residential, and request to be continued to 12/17. I move that.
Okay. Motion has been made
Second.
and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous vote. All right. First new hearing.
Did you already go through who's sitting on the cases? Did I miss that part?
Dan is supposed to do that for this first hearing.
Okay.
Did you hear that, Dan?
Oh, I
Rob,
think he's
Nancy, and Michael. You just
Okay.
IM'd it. We put it
in
in
the
chat.
chat. Okay.
I gotta look at this now. All right. So Dan, why don't you run through and do them all? So the first one is myself, Nancy, and Michael. Second one. Rob, Ray, and Dan. That's the second one. Nancy, Michael, Ray. The last one. Rob, Dan, Michael.
Thanks, Dan.
Any better?
It's a little better, but it's still a bit choppy.
All right, I'll stay on.
Thank you.
Dan, talking slower would be helpful. All right. No. I know. All right. First item on the agenda, please.
Robert J. Neary for a variance under section 4130 Appendix B for lot coverage and a special permit under section 3670 of the Tewksbury zoning bylaw to construct a single-family home as shown on plans filed with this board. Said property is located at 117 Lakeview Avenue, Assessors Map 93, Lot 65, Zoned Residential.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. You ready to go?
You're muted, Rob.
There you go, Rob.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Kuko. If you could name and address for the record and tell us a little bit what you're doing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dick Hugo from Woodland Design, 73 Emerald Court, Tewksbury. If it's okay with you, I try to share my screen, sir.
Yes, please.
Okay, let's see here. Okay, hopefully you can see that.
Yes, I can see that.
Very good. Thank you. This is, the property is located at 117 Lakeview Avenue, which is on a lot that was created back in the 20s. The house was built around 1920. This is the existing location of the dwelling on that particular property. What we're proposing to do is the existing home is located only about 3 feet off of the lot line on the right-hand side of the property, and the home, it's definitely needs some updating. What the applicant would like to do is to raise the existing dwelling, put in a new proposed dwelling that would meet the setback requirements that for pre-existing non-conforming lot. We have 10 feet, 12 feet, 25 feet, so we meet the criteria from that perspective. The fairly modest home is going to be constructed on that lot. It's a split gambrel. It's been designed, many of them in the neighborhood down in that location. It fits nicely on the lot so that it doesn't overcrowd the lot. This particular home would put us at 21% lot coverage, where the zoning bylaw for a lot under this criteria would be 20%. We're about 1% over, but we think that that's very minimal considering the improvement that would be made by taking the home from being only 3 feet off the lot line and having it more centered on the lot. Let's see. In my findings, I have requested the variance under 4130 for that 21%, where 20 is allowed. And it says on my finding page here, it says a special permit from section 3630. It's actually 3670, which is on the application. 3630 gives the board the ability to issue special permits. 3670 is the actual section in which we would be applying for. Also, on the screen, I have a copy of the letter from Mr. Johnson, the building commissioner, where he states that we should be applying for a special permit under section 3670. We notified all of the abutters. Legal notices have been posted in the paper, and we hope that the board will consider granting the special permit and the variance for this project. And I'd be happy to try to answer any questions.
All right. I honestly don't have any questions. You're tearing down a house that's very close to the property line, 3 feet from the property line, and you want to build a new one. How much bigger is the new home? 34.
Square footage wise, I can check that for you in 1 second.
Footprint wise.
Footprint wise, let's see. The footprint of the existing home is, I have this on my other computer, so I can get it for you, I hope. That's 1,060 square feet on the footprint. And the new dwelling is about 900. I'm sorry, It's about 952, so the footprint of the new dwelling is a little bit smaller than the existing dwelling.
Do you have dimensions of the existing dwelling?
I do not, but I know that the footprint of it is, yes, I do. All right. The existing dwelling is about, it's like 27 feet wide, and it's 32 feet deep, and then it has a little bit, you see on the back where it's not crosshatched, it has like an attached shed that goes across the entire perimeter of the back. So we're about 50 to 70 square feet smaller with the new dwelling.
All right. Board members, any questions?
None for me.
None for me.
All right, well, being a public hearing, we'll open it up at this time. If there's anyone here who would like to speak, you can call this number that I don't have anymore.
781-565-8134.
That number right there. We'll give that a minute, see if anyone calls in to speak on it. All right, I'm looking at a message from Jason. He's saying that his audio isn't working, so he's going to let me know if people call in. Right now, he doesn't seem to have anyone. Just give that another minute. Anything else you'd like to say, Mr. Cole?
No, I think that's it. Other than I think it would be an improvement to the neighborhood.
All right. I just got a message from Jason. No calls. So at this time, if nobody has anything else, I'll take a motion to close both parts of the hearing.
Like to make a motion to close both parts of the hearing.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's a unanimous vote. Any discussion, board members?
None for me.
None.
And none for me as well. All right. So we need the motion for the special permit first. We'll do this one in two motions.
Mhm.
Motion for the special permit and then motion for a variance.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Robert J. Neary for I'm sorry, you want to do the special permit first?
Special permit first, yes.
To approve a special permit under section 3670 of the zoning bylaw to construct a single-family home as shown on plans filed with the board. Said property located at 117 Lakeview Ave.
Second.
Keep going, Nancy. Lakeview Ave, Assessor's map.
Assessor's map 93, lot 65, zoned residential.
Motion has been made.
Second.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's a unanimous vote.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Robert J. Neary for variance under section 4130, appendix B for lot coverage of the Tewksbury zoning bylaw to construct a single-family home as shown in plans filed with the board. Said property located at 117 Lakeview Ave, Assessor's map 93, Lot 65 zoned residential.
Motion's been made,
Second.
seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Another unanimous vote.
Thank you very much, board members. Appreciate it. Have a good evening.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you, you too.
Aye.
Next item on the agenda, please.
William J. Fabiano Jr. on behalf of William J. Fabiano Jr. and Julia R. Fabiano for a variance under section 4130, appendix B for front yard setbacks of the Tewksbury zoning bylaw to construct a 16 by 24 addition as shown on plans filed with this board. Said property is located at 15 Champion Street, assessors map 56, lot 10, zoned residential.
And who do we have here for this one?
That would be me, William John Fabiano Jr., 15
If-
Champion Street.
Thank you. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
First of all, good evening, Mr. Chair and board members. Appreciate you guys giving me an opportunity to talk to you today. So what we'd like to do is build a one-story 16 by 24 foot addition onto our home that will provide a new entryway, mudroom, and also a living room. Just expand our living space a little bit. The issue obviously is the 25-foot setback. I unfortunately, because it's my first time using WebEx, I have not downloaded or been able to. I don't think I can share my screen. So hopefully you have the plot plan there for your reference. Because the house was built in 1957, prior to close to 30 years prior to Belt Circle being developed, we only have about 15 feet. We hit that 15-foot setback that would be typically used for side setback. So we're kind of hoping that you guys would just consider that in making a decision that when the house was built and when it was positioned on the lot, Belt Circle did not exist.
So the problem is, when your house was built, you're a Champion Street address, right?
Yes,
Okay. So when your house was built, you're 33 feet away from the street, like you should. You got the 25, it's all good. And Bell Circle wasn't there.
correct.
Belt Circle, excuse me. So now you're looking at, you need another 25 because you're a corner lot. I understand that. When was the house built? I know you just said it.
1957.
1957.
And I'm not sure if this matters, but on Champion Street, there are 3 or 4 other homes who have made similar size additions. But because they weren't on a corner lot, they have only the 15-foot setbacks. They were allowed to make that expansion. Just the fact, like I said, being on the corner lot, we have that 2 setbacks. Not that it's necessarily a special case, but it's definitely more rare than it not being.
So before Belt Circle was there, you're a significant distance away from your neighbor's house on the other
Yes.
side of Belt Circle.
Yes, and I would say that with the addition, we're in no way encroaching on any of the other neighbors' lots. That wouldn't be an issue there as well, and it certainly would fit with the aesthetic of the neighborhood. We're certainly not asking to build any kind of, I think the term is McMansion.
Do you have, I guess we don't need it. I was going to ask if you had any pictures of what you're proposing to build.
Well, unfortunately, I mean, I do. Like I said, I don't think I can share my screen because I think I would leave the meeting have to come back because I haven't previously used Cisco.
Mhm.
So in order to set up the screen share, it's not like allowing me to share my screen to show you what it would look like.
Yep, that's fine. No worries.
I certainly, if it would help, I can send some architectural drawings via email to any of the board members that would require that. I can do that now if you'd like to review it. If that is something that you would like me to do, I'd be more than happy to do it.
I'm okay with it not having them because we're just looking at a setback, not any type of special permit where we're saying that what you're building is not more detrimental than what's already there or anything like that, you know? So we really don't need it. But if any other board members would like it, I can have them email me and I'll share it on my screen. I don't need it.
I don't need it. This is Ray.
I don't need it either. It's Nancy.
Yeah, Mike, I don't need it either.
Okay, very good. All right, where's Dan? Dan, you put yourself on this one. Do you have anything you'd like to say that we're not hearing?
You're on mute, Dan. There you go.
You guys hear me? And you guys,
Yes. You have nothing to add, okay?
All right. Anything else, board members? No? All right. Being a public hearing, we'll open it to the public at this time. If there's anyone here who'd like to speak, or if you'd like to call in, 781-565-8134. And we'll give that a minute for Jason to let me know if anyone's here. I don't even know if Jason's still here. Yep, Jason's still here. All right, I got the big no callers from Jason. So if there's nothing else, anything else you'd like to say?
Nope. I think I'm all set. Thank you.
All right. If somebody'd like to make a motion to close both parts of the hearing.
Make a motion to close both parts of the hearing.
Motion has been made. Dan, you want to second that? Seconded by Dan. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Dan, give me a thumbs up or something. Yep, there you go. All right. So unanimous on closing both parts of the hearing. Any discussion?
None from Ray.
None.
nothing from me.
All right. So if somebody'd like to make a motion, Ray,
Make a motion to approve William J. Fabiano Jr. on behalf of William J. Fabiano Jr. and Julia R. Fabiano for a variance under section 4130 Appendix B for front yard setbacks of Tewksbury zoning bylaw to construct a 16 by 24 addition as shown on plans filed with this board. Said property is located at 15 Champion Street, Assessor's Map 56, Lot 10, Zone Residential.
motion has been made
Seconded.
and seconded by Dan. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Unanimous vote.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate this. Have a great evening and good luck to everybody else.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next item on the agenda, please.
Redevelopment Associates LLC for a variance under section 4130 Appendix B for minimum frontage of the Tewksbury zoning bylaw to demolish existing house and construct 2 new single-family homes as shown on plans filed with this board. Said property is located at 391 North Street and 0 North Street, Assessors Map 63 and 64, lots 6 and 127, zoned residential.
All right, good evening. Who's here for this one?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Attorney Robert Peterson and members of the board for the applicant, John Carroll from Redevelopment Associates. Mr. Carroll, Mr. Chairman, is also here with me this evening. Good evening, members of the board, and to Mr. Zaroulis as well. So,
If you could just give me your name and address. You've already given me your name. Give me your address for the record, please.
Attorney Robert G. Peterson, 314 Main Street, Wilmington, Mass. 01887, Mr. Chairman.
And Mr. Carroll. Mr. Carroll, address for the record, please.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
John Carroll, Manager, Redevelopment Associates, 1501 Main Street, here in Tewksbury.
Thank you. All right, tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Carroll owns this property, which is 391 North Street, and the abutting parcel, which has no house number. The property was owned prior to Mr. Carroll purchasing the same from the McLeish family. The McLeish family purchased the first parcel in 1950 and the second parcel in 1954. Both parcels were purchased prior to the current zoning requirements of 150 feet of frontage for each lot in the town of Tewksbury. The lots have always been assessed, Mr. Chairman, as separate building lots. What I would call the homestead lot, as described in Mr. Carroll's statement of facts submitted with this application, describes the parcel with the existing dwelling as a fully assessed house. The second parcel, which has always had its own separate tax bill, is assessed by the town of Tewksbury as potentially developable land. As I indicated in my earlier presentation, Mr. Chairman, both of these lots were created prior to the requirement that the lots have 150 feet of frontage. Both of Mr. Carroll's proposed lots meet all of the dimensional requirements with the exception of frontage. The proposed lot 1 on Exhibit 3 submitted by Mr. Carroll to the board shows that lot is about 9.55 feet short of the required frontage. The proposed lot 2 is fully compliant in all respects, Mr. Chairman, with all of the dimensional requirements of the town of Tewksbury. I would ask the board to consider in their deliberations that this property is developable as evidenced in Exhibit 2 submitted by Mr. Carroll as 2 fully compliant lots under the provisions of subdivision control. I would ask the board to consider the existence of the 2 lots since 1950 as 2 separate assessed parcels. And I would ask the board to consider the potential impact of developing them as 2 what I would call Form A lots without planning board involvement. Would involve substantially less disturbance to this property, Mr. Chairman, as would the construction of the cul-de-sac as shown by Mr. Carroll on Exhibit 2. I would accept any decision the board would make, but I would point out to the board that these lots are subdividable subdividable through the planning board process, irregardless of the vote here this evening. And I would be happy to answer any questions that the board and or Mr. Zaroulis may have. Would also, if I may, Mr. Chairman, very quickly point out an Exhibit 4 as submitted by Mr. Carroll, outlined in blue, of the lots that are adjacent to this parcel. They were also created prior to the existence of zoning in the town of Tewksbury that are also non-compliant with the current regulations.
The only comment I would make, Mr. Chair, is I'm not here this evening in particular to this particular application. I'm here for a subsequent application.
Fair enough. So, board members, if you got your email today. You saw the refusal letter from the building commissioner, which is stating that at a point in time, these lots were considered to be merged. We've gone through this before. What it basically says is if the same owner owns two non-conforming lots, they merge to make one conforming lot. And it's kind of our job to figure out if that in fact is the case with this. Did they merge? Are they two separate lots?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I respect very much the opinion of Mr. Johnson, and I'm very familiar with the doctrine of merger. And the only thing I would point out to the board is that these parcels have always been assessed not only to the McLeish's, but also to Mr. Carroll and to Redevelopment Associates as two separate parcels. And I respect the decision of the board, whatever it may be, but I just would like to point that out to the board members.
Any questions, board members? Who's on this one?
Does the non-conformity include the frontage? Because when I originally read it, I thought it was two different lot sizes, one the 0.75 and one the larger lot. If they're making them both 1 acre lots, do we have the right to give the variance, or are we precluded from that because it's considered contiguous?
The variance would be if we say they're two separate lots. The variance would be for the frontage of 137 feet.
Yeah, 140 plus.
Well, you got 100 in the new design. If you look at the full print,
Right. Look at the notation just above the 137, Mr. Chairman. It's a 137 plus 2.79 feet to your left.
I'm confused at why you'd even give me the 137 then.
Because I think it's two separate measurements. Mr. Chairman, there was a bound and there was 2.79 feet to the left of that bound. So the length without the bound is 137.66 and the length after the bound is 2.79. And the distance in the middle is the actual frontage of 140.45.
Okay.
It just delineates the distance before and after the bound.
All right, so you got 140 and 150. If we decide that these lots were not merged.
Correct. It's the answer to the gentleman's question. The only issue is that what the chairman just mentioned. It's 9.55 feet short of the required frontage on proposed lot 1. The lots meet the remainder of the dimensional requirements.
On exhibit 2, is that what's existing now, or is that?
Exhibit 2 is how the lots are currently assessed by the town, correct? They were purchased by the McLeish's on 2 separate deeds, and they've remained on 2 separate deeds. But that is correct. That's the current assessment in the current configuration of lots.
It's almost a common driveway.
if I might step in, Exhibit 2 is the conceptual plan that shows what I would be bringing forth to the planning board if we did get the variance.
Mr. Chairman, I apologize. I got Exhibit 1 confused with Exhibit 2. Mr. Carroll is correct. Exhibit 2 shows the conforming subdivision of the parcels that would require planning board approval. It would show 2 conforming lots.
All right, so Exhibit 3 is what you want from us.
Correct.
And if we don't give you Exhibit 3, you're gonna go to the planning board with Exhibit 2.
Correct.
Understand? So it ultimately boils down to, do we think these lots will merge? Which leads me to the question, if it's listed as 2 separate parcels, then why wouldn't the second lot have an address? Why would it be 0 North Street?
I can't answer why it never had a number, Mr. Chairman, other than to say that it's always been vacant and probably didn't require a number. I don't think the lack of a number was done for any particular reason, other than the fact that that parcel never had a dwelling on it. But there have always been 2 separate tax bills issued for this property, and the second parcel has always been taxed as potentially developable property. It's never been taxed as non-developable land. There's always been 2 separate bills for each lot, 1 separate bill for each lot.
You don't have a separate tax bill, do you?
I can. I'm not sure. Let me just reduce for a minute. Let me see if I can. I may disappear for a minute, Mr. Chairman, so. I just have to bring up the documents from Mr. Carroll purchased the property. If you just bear with me for 1 second.
I'd actually like to see a tax bill that says potentially buildable. Did everyone see the denial letter that came via email today? Did everyone see that?
Yes, I did.
Yes, I did too.
Yes.
I don't know if I could hold this up to the camera or what, but this is the assessment on what's known as 0. And let me see if the word right here by my finger. Oh, sorry. I don't know if you can read that.
I can't, not really.
No.
It says residential potentially developable land. And that's the assessment report. Was 0.
All right. Mr. Carroll, I opened the screen up a little larger on you. Could you hold it up again, please?
Hold it again.
Yep. Well,
Closer? Up here.
All right, keep going. Bring it higher. You don't have to go so close, just higher. There you go. That calls out 391. That's the owner's address. Yeah, 0 North Street. Okay.
That's a 0.
Shows the owner is 391. Yeah. Residential, potentially, does it say dividable land? Divivable? DVIL?
DVL, PBLE.
Okay. All right, thank you. What else, board members?
The lots held in the same name, or were there different names?
They were held in the same name. Is it Mr. Fano? Whoever, they were in the same name. They were assessed separately in the same names.
We're running into this more and more lately. And it basically says if you have two non-conforming lots owned by the same person that are side by side, that they merge into one conforming lot. Would you say that's a correct statement?
But in this case, it's one non-conforming lot and one conforming lot, and they are going to make both 1 acre, technically not conforming because they're short 9 feet of frontage. Is that correct?
That is correct. And again, I would ask the board, in whatever the decision is, I would respect it, but to consider the fact that these parcels have always been taxed separately, and the second parcel has always been taxed as potentially developable property. And in fact, would be either through this process or through Exhibit B with the planning board. I'm sorry, Exhibit 2.
Exhibit 2 is going to get less frontage.
Correct. Well, they would meet the circle, actually, Mr. Chairman, would allow both lots to meet the minimum requirement of 150. Those would be fully
Using the circle as your frontage.
correct. But less frontage on North Street would be correct.
150-foot driveway is called frontage. Any more questions, board members?
Nope.
All right, why don't we open it up to the public, see if there's anyone here to speak on this. If you'd like to speak on this and you're not already here, you can call 781-565-8134. 781-565-8134.
We have no calls, Mr. Chairman.
Jason is back with audio. Is there anyone here that would like to speak on this? Do you have a caller? No. Anything, board members? Anything else we're looking for? Is there any more information that we'd like to have? What is on this one? Need a bigger desk. Wait a minute. I wasn't even on this one, was I?
This one I think is Rob, Dan, and Mike, right?
I think, yes.
Okay.
So you got the next one?
What, Dan?
Yeah, this one was supposed to be you, Nancy,
Oh,
Michael, and Ray.
okay. All right, Ray, do you have anything else? Mike?
No, nothing.
The only thing I'd add is from the way I read the building commissioner's letter was the two non-conforming lots, and I don't believe that's the case here. I believe one of them's non-conforming. So I think we can count them as two lots.
Yeah, I agree, Ray. Okay. Any other questions? Anybody?
No.
Okay, Rob.
I'm still here. I'm just reading this denial letter again. Ray, I kind of agree with you. Because it says the non-conforming exemption was not to apply when the lot owner had adjoining land available for use in satisfying the minimum frontage requirement. But that first lot, you'd have to take a conforming lot and make it non-conforming for the second lot to be conforming. Right? Even though it's 9 feet.
I don't agree. The first lot will never be non-conforming in this scenario.
Right. But to make the second lot conform, you'd have to make the first lot non-conforming.
No, the first lot will still be conforming.
I agree with you. But if you read it, it's saying to satisfy the second lot, you have to take land from the first lot. Well, if you take land from the first lot, you're going to make the first lot non-conforming. I agree with you that the way this is built out, the first lot stays conforming and the second lot is closer, but it's still a little shy. I agree with you. I might not be saying it right, but I agree with you. All right. Nancy, am I going to finish this one or do you want it?
No, you can finish it.
All right. So why don't we make a motion to close both parts of the hearing? If Mr. Carroll, you're all set, and Attorney, I'm sorry, I can't see your last name.
I'm all set, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much. I'm all set. Thank you.
And Mr. Carroll?
All set here, thank you.
All right. So why don't we make a motion to close both parts of the hearing? Then
So
we can
moved.
have a discussion.
So moved. Motion to close. both parts of the hearing.
Motion has been made to close both parts of the hearing. Someone's gonna second it. Where's Dan? And seconded by Dan. All in favor on that one? Aye.
Aye.
Dan? Yep, there you go. All right, so that's a unanimous decision. Ray, I agree with you. What I was saying was, in reading the way I read this, the way I read the denial letter, it's basically saying that you buy the second property to make the first property conform. Right? So let's say for conversation, the first property had 75 feet of frontage. You buy the second property that has 75 feet of frontage. There you go, you got 150 feet. But that's not the case here. That first piece of property was always conforming. So I agree with you, and I honestly don't see a merge here. And furthermore, I think the property on the big plan, Exhibit 3, would look better than, not that it matters, we can do tunnel vision, but I think it looks better than putting the cul-de-sac in there.
We think about that too.
All right. Any further discussion?
None
No.
for me.
None for me.
Let me read this agenda. So the only thing I don't like, though, is the proposed lot is the only one that doesn't need the variance. And the way the agenda is written, you're combining them into one property. Any thoughts on that, board members?
We'll see them as properties. So if you are to make the non-conforming lot larger, but it would still be non-conforming, would we be able to give it the variance? And I believe the answer to that would be yes.
I only heard about half of what you said. You were very choppy.
I see you're taking the second lot, 0.75 acres, and you're making it an acre, but it's still non-conforming for the frontage, and then we would just give it the variance. The first lot would still be conforming. So I just see this as giving a variance to a non-conforming lot.
May I comment on that, Mr. Chairman?
I'll allow it. Go ahead.
I would actually agree with Mr. Farnham. I'm reading the front page of the application, and it would describe the lot, the frontage of 140.45. And I would represent to the board that if this matter is granted, then this notation would be made on any Form A subdivision plan to be submitted to the planning board for the lot that doesn't fully comply with frontage, with this case number on it, because the other lot will be fully conforming.
Right, so you don't need a variance on it.
Correct.
So why on my agenda, on my listing, 391 North Street? 391 North Street doesn't need anything.
because I think it would involve both parcels. I mean, it would be disingenuous not to include both addresses because they're both tied together to the application. So,
Right, but why? We're saying if we vote, if we give you a yes vote, then we're basically saying they never merged. But we're going to give them a variance together.
well, you're taking a sum from the other. So it would be hard to submit the application without referencing both parcels because Exhibit 3 shows a portion of 391 being transferred to the vacant parcel. So it would be difficult to submit the application without referencing both, as Mr. Farnham indicated, so.
All right.
Right, they're making the 0.75 acre lot an R40 lot, and now we're just talking about a variance for frontage.
Correct.
Right, but why am I going to issue, why, I understand everything you're saying. Why am I going to issue a variance to 391?
Right, the request was wrong.
But you could actually vote, Mr. Chairman, as presented on Exhibit 3 and incorporate the decision in your plan. Incorporate the plan in your decision because it references both of the lots to be subdivided.
Which we always do, because we say with plans filed with this board.
Correct.
I'm hesitant to give 391 a variance.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
This is up to the board.
Dan, we can't hear you.
I'm just checking, Mr. Chairman, to see if the abutting lot actually physically has a house number, if you can bear with me for a minute. I just have to go back to my old screen, so. Mr. Chairman, you could reference that as map 64 parcel 127, which just says North Street, does not have a house number. As shown on Exhibit 3 submitted by the applicant.
I really have a problem with giving 391 a variance. You understand my point, right? If we give 391 and 0 a variance for frontage, we're saying you can go smaller on proposed lot 2.
I would say, Mr. Chairman, that would not be the case, but if you certainly want to limit it to the unnumbered, you can actually craft your decision so that you require the subdivision to comply with Exhibit 3, where the existing lot 2 would not need a variance at all. You could simply require that the applicant's subdivision plan as submitted to the planning board mirror Exhibit 3 and require that it mirror Exhibit 3. And that no variance shall be required for Lot 2 on the plan. So,
Yeah, I'm okay with that. And I understand your point. You want to get 391 in on it because you're going to change that lot. So you want it referenced. I understand that.
so I think the simple answer to that is just require that the subdivision plan comply fully with Exhibit 3 and that there no variance be required for Lot 2. You could actually simply say, Mr. Chairman, that any subdivision of this property needs to comply with the submittal to the planning board. I think that would cover it as well. I mean, to the Board of Appeals.
We say that anyways.
And I think that would cover the board, so.
All right. Any more discussion, board members?
Nope.
Anybody want to make a motion?
Give me 1 second.
Do you want me to make a motion to close both parts?
Already did that.
All right, so I'd like to make a motion.
I think Ray was,
Ray, are you doing this one?
Yeah, just move.
I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
No problem. So make a motion to approve Redevelopment Associates LLC for a variance under section 4130, Appendix B, for a minimum frontage of the Tewksbury zoning bylaw to demolish house and construct 2 new single-family homes as shown on plans filed with the board. Exhibit 3, said property is located at 391 North Street and 0 North Street, Assessors Map 63 and 64, Lot 6 and 127, zoned residential.
motion has been made
Second.
and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous decision. All right, good luck.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, members of the board as well. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you.
All right. So, Melissa, that one, your voting members are going to be myself, Mike, and Ray.
Okay.
And then on the next one, take me off, put Nancy on. It'll be Nancy, Dan, and Mike.
Okay.
Right, so you got the next one, Nancy.
Rob, why don't you and I take it? Dan will have to sit out because we can't hear him.
All right, why don't you share this
No, you're good. Go ahead.
one? All right, Melissa, next one, please.
James Nettie and Cynthia Burke Crowley for special permit under section 3320 of the Tewksbury zoning bylaw to establish a home occupation as shown on plans filed with this board. Said property is located at 77 Chandler Street, Assessors Map 76, Lot 4, zoned residential.
Hold on, I'm just shuffling papers. I thought I was out of this one.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. David Plunkett, 151 Warren Street, Lowell, Massachusetts, representing the applicants James Janetti and Cindy Crowley. Excuse me. As indicated in the reading of the petition, this is a request for a special permit for a home occupation at the location owned by the applicants at 77 Chandler Street. Just going to try to, if I could, Mr. Chairman, just try to open up to bring up the assessors map. What happened? Oh, maybe I won't bring it up. In the documents filed with the application, there is a copy of the assessor's map. And if you take a look at that, in order to get a feeling of the location where this property is located, you have this location on Chandler Street. It's immediately adjacent to the Tewksbury Rod and Gun Club. So if you look at the assessor's map, lot 76-4, immediately to the left and to the rear of the parcel is the Rod and Gun Club. Immediately opposite the parcel is the ball fields. And then on the other side of the street is when you have the state hospital. A little bit further down Chandler Street, at the intersection of East Street is where you have the elderly drop-in center for the town. So, Mr. Chairman, this is a situation where, we are here requesting a special permit for the operation of a dog grooming business. This is a business that would be handled directly by the owners of the property, the applicants. Mr. Genetti would act as, with business backing, and Ms. Crowley would be the actual hands-on, operator of the business. Cindy has had experience in this field. She worked at Petco. She was a dog groomer there. She went through a certification program, and this is something that she loves, and she would like to, carry on the business out of the home. If you look at the layout of the property, I think it's clear that this is something that is, again, with the application. And I'm not sure what happened, but I was hoping to bring it up on the screen. But it's in your application package, where it shows the layout of the parcel, showing the rooms and the driveway and next to the home. So this is an area that is a driveway immediately in front of the right-hand side of the home. Right-hand side of the home is almost like an extension of the home, in which they would utilize the back area of the two rooms that are immediately adjacent to the driveway. And that's where the dog grooming would take place. We set forth in the application and provided the information relative to how the business would be operated. It would be something that there would be absolutely no, walk-in business. The only way that you would have an appointment to bring a dog there for dog grooming would be through their website. Mr. Genetti, I believe, is the one who originated the website, or helped build the website, in which someone going in would have to go to the site and queue in the time period necessary for what service they wanted to engage in. And that it would also then require that the system would have a built-in buffer between anyone that queues in for a service and anyone that wants to queue in for a service afterwards. The way that the business would be operated is that Ms. Crowley would come out to the car, greet the person, meet the dog, and then bring the dog in. There was some indication, we said that if they wanted to stay, they could, but talking to my clients, they say it's a rarity, that basically no one stays. They basically drop off the dog for the services that they've requested, and then they come back to pick up when the job is done. Part of the system that's built into the business operation is that they would notify the customer 15 minutes before these services are done. So that way that would allow for a smooth operation of the person coming in, picking up the dog, leaving, and then with that half-hour buffer, you would have, there would never be more than one dog on the site at a time. It would also greatly eliminate any, issue pertaining to cars coming and going and that there would only be one vehicle coming in to drop the dog off, one vehicle to pick the dog up. Their hours of operation are looking for just during the week, Monday through Friday, 10 o'clock to 7 o'clock. The expectation is that the typical time frame necessary to deal with any of the groom services to be provided would be 2 hours, including the half-hour buffer that's inserted into it. So you have a situation where, this would be a perfect location for the type of home business that is envisioned under the bylaw. You have a situation where, as we stated, that we would be in requirements with all the 3312 through 3314, which it's basically that there's not going to be any that it's clearly incidental to the use of the home. So if you look at the home, this is a large home. I believe it's 5 bedrooms and 2 baths, and it's a large home that they have there. And so this is a fairly small portion of that home. So it's clearly incidental and secondary to the use of the premises as a residence. There's not going to be any noise, vibration, smoke, dust, odors, etc. And that you're only going to have a single dog going in at any given time, one at a time. No exterior storage of material. There would be just that wouldn't be what would be required for the operation of the business. And the reason why we would not be able to have this as a use as right under section 30 is though because it will produce a customer. That the customer will come in, and again, I think you can see that it would be something that wouldn't be a major a burden on the neighborhood. That this is something that, especially in light of the surrounding area, you've got ball fields, you've got the Rod and Gun Club, you've got the drop-in center. So this is a situation that it's not going to diminish the neighborhood at all. And I just wish, I'm sorry that I wanted to share with you that they did get neighborhood support. They got a number of the neighbors on the street have signed off and in support of it. And I apologize, I can't pull it up. Let me try one time.
So in the notice of the zoning bylaw violation, are you with me, Mr. Plunkett?
Yeah, I'm trying to get this back. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
Section B of the bylaw violation points out that animal clinic or hospital kennels are not allowed in a residential zone and a commercial zone requiring 5 acres of land.
And this wouldn't meet that definition, Mr. Chairman. If you look at the definitional section, it talks about, it specifically states 3 or more animals at a time. And there's not going to be 3 or more animals at a time. This is going to be strictly limited to 1 customer at a time. Just if you could bear with me for 1 second, for some reason I have lost my connection to the meeting.
We still see you.
You can see me? Okay, and you're the only one I can see.
Well, I can see you too. I think you're trying to do a screen share, and that's why you're minimized. You can see the mouse move around, so if you stop sharing your screen, it would work. There you go.
Okay. So now I see a large, yeah.
Is this business registered with the town?
In the application, Mr. Chairman, we indicate that, I did not want to file anything until we get the permission. Because, this is a situation where there has been a notice that was served of a cease and desist. And so in the application, I made specific reference to the fact that we recognize the need to register with the town clerk, and that upon the approval of the ZBA, that would be clearly a condition that we would accept. And
You still with us?
yeah, for some reason, I'm just getting one screen at a time. I'll just go on with what I have appearing before. So we have a situation where, we understand and recognize that requirement. And in the narrative, we specifically make reference to the fact that it would be the intent of the applicant to comply with that by registering with the town clerk as required upon the grant of approval of the special permit to carry on a business at the site. So it's not a matter that, that we're not cognizant of it. It's more a matter of the fact that this is a situation that we're dealing with, that I know that you received a stipulation or memorandum of that I had dealt with Attorney Zeroulis to come to an agreement relative to trying to wrap this up in conjunction with the fact that there is a suit that was filed requesting an injunction. We agreed to the injunction with the understanding that there is no right to carry on a kennel and, in being in opposition and not be conforming to what is allowed under the zoning bylaw. But as I said, the reference in the letter is specific to a definition in the zoning bylaw, clearly referencing only when you have 3 or more animals at a time, so that this would not be applicable to the proposed operation that is going to be at this site. So it's a situation where, if you look at it as a whole, you have a situation where it is a service that makes sense. This is, now I've lost everything, so I can't see.
We can still see you.
Okay. So, this is something that is, I think clearly a use that would be envisioned by the provision of the zoning bylaw that says that if you have owners of a property or primary residence and they want to carry on a business operation in their residence, as long as it's secondary to the primary use as a residence, that would be allowed. And this is the situation in today's times. I think that, it's something that the town should recognize and support any type of situation like this where someone has the opportunity to carry out a business activity that would be in line with the zoning bylaw and make use of their home, and not in a situation like this, it would be an operation that would not be at conflict with the neighborhood. That this is something that could be done in a very business manner. The proposal is a well thought out business plan. It's something that would assure that there was a limitation on how many dogs, that there would only be one dog there at a time, there'd only be one car there at a time. We're talking about limited time period of operation, or talking about limited days, that only during the week, no weekend activity. It's a situation where, again, we would ask the board to grant the approval, and in recognition of the stipulation of conditions that we worked out with Attorney Zeroulis, there is a understanding that the open request for a building permit for the pool and deck at the rear, that has to be addressed. Right now, they're just waiting on the electrician to come in. Unfortunately, because it's a fairly small job, right now, the earliest date was in the first week of December, and they're still working on trying to get somebody in sooner. But we accept we accept and understand that, there will be no open issues before this business can operate, and that everything would be done relative to assure full compliance with that aspect as set forth in the stipulation of conditions that was submitted and filed with the board. So it's a situation where the area is, would be, it would be a welcome addition actually to the town of Tewksbury. As you probably are well aware, pets have become a very important part of a life of many people. That they were always an integral part of a lot of lives. But since the pandemic, COVID pandemic, they say that, the level of ownership and the level of appreciation of pets has grown exponentially, because people would turn into, the comfort and enjoyment that the pets give to an individual, give to a family. So this would fit in very well with what's happening in the town. It would fit in very well with the intent of the bylaws, and it could be done in a manner, as we laid out in the narrative, that would be protect the neighborhood and would be accepted. What we laid out in the narrative, we would accept as a condition of the approval, that those parameters of operation would be part of the approval as granted by the board.
I have a question.
Sure.
How long has Cindy's Dog Grooming been in business?
Pardon me?
How long has Miss Cindy's Dog Grooming been in business?
It first started, I think, back in, I'll turn to Mr. Genetti and ask when he first started it.
Hello, yeah. We planned on opening up when we purchased the place in March, and we got things ready. We opened it up, and then we were notified with the cease and stop. So it was in business for about 2 weeks, and then me not knowing much about building websites and stuff, I signed up for a thing called AdSense. And when we got the cease and stop, I shut it down. Facebook. But the AdSense auto ran and started it back up. And then we started getting calls again, and then we shut it down again. And we had the flag up and stuff for a while, but at that time, she was only doing favors for our friends, like my friend Rose would bring a dog over, but she wasn't doing any more business work. We had to get this straightened out before we did anything. And I want to take full responsibility for everything that was messed up. I thought we were zoned for business when we purchased it, and I'm the one that made the mistake and didn't verify. And I really don't want my wife being punished for my own stupidity.
Now, if you thought you were zoned for business, why didn't you register with the town?
We were in the process. We got the cease and desist.
COVID.
Yeah, COVID-19. That's right. COVID. The lockdown was maybe a week after we purchased the home. So we couldn't register with the town, but I did register with the IRS, and we had plans to register with the town, but we got to cease and stop in the meantime.
All right, so you bought the home thinking it was zone commercial.
For business, yes. It's right next to the Tewksbury Gun Club.
Yep, very familiar with it. Tewksbury had the COVID, we closed town hall and all that, but you did register with the IRS, thinking that you were in a commercial district, thinking you were doing the right thing.
Yes.
You opened for about 2 weeks. With town hall being closed, you couldn't go register anyways.
Correct.
And you got your cease and desist. When you finally did get down there to register, right? They said, wait a minute, you live in residential, you can't have that.
Well, I went down to find out what I needed to do to fix the home, and that's when I was notified that we need to get a lawyer and I, Mr. Plunkett. I didn't want to make any more mistakes. I'm a cable guy. I'm not a business guy, a construction guy.
And I'm a dog groomer.
So this is all foreign to us. We thought we were doing the right thing, and I'm sorry I made the mistake.
Gotcha. I understand.
And I'll do whatever it takes to make things right so she can have her shop, because people love it. The whole reason of the one dog is not because of COVID or anything like that. It's because it makes it so the dog doesn't have anxiety. And, you know, it's more of the animal. Her clients are the dogs. So all of this is to make sure the dogs are comfortable, relaxed, and they enjoy their time.
Gotcha. I understand. All right. Any more
Mr.
questions?
Chairman, I got my screen back, so.
Oh, good. Good. Any more questions, board members?
No.
Attorneys and rulers, do you have anything to add?
No, I don't. I assume that the board has read the conditions which have been signed by both Attorney Plunkett and me, and there's no question concerning those conditions acceptable to the.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't see the conditions in the packet.
Rob, it was an email.
Well, I didn't see it. When did that come?
I'm sorry, I did not hear you.
I was just told that came in an email. And when did we get that?
I think it probably would have been.
Yesterday.
Afternoon.
It came today?
I got it yesterday afternoon.
Yesterday afternoon. Today's Thursday. It's under the heading meeting package. Yep. All right, let's look at that real quick.
If I can summarize it very briefly, on page two of the stipulations of the basic of the conditions, and require the applicant to pay the town its legal costs that incurred in the lawsuit that was filed against them. And also, there is a violation of the state building code where a pool was installed with decking without the benefit of a building permit. So the requirement is that the applicant must apply for and obtain approval of the building permit and must complete the construction of the pool and the decking to the satisfaction of the building department, and it cannot, the board may grant the special permit, but it is not to issue until after the building commissioner certifies that the work was properly. And we would want those conditions to be included in your decision. Those conditions have been accepted by the applicants. The only other comment I would make is I don't think that Attorney Plunkett, in his letter of October 29th, 2020, and I'm sure when the decision's written, it probably would be sent to me to take a view of it, where we have these conditions. But I would suggest to Attorney Plunkett that in his letter of October 29th to the board, he also sets forth some parameters, paragraphs 2, 3, and 4, that essentially, and 4, I think, essentially are conditions. And he may, or the board may wish to request that he submit those items, the hours of operation, how many dogs can go in, how they go in, and so forth, that he perhaps should submit those also as conditions for your decision.
Thank you. Thank you, attorneys and rules.
Can you guys hear me? I'm sorry, that might help. Mr. Chair, I was just stating, it might work better unmuted, that the suggestions of Mr. Zaroulis are fully acceptable to myself in behalf of the applicants. As Mr. Genetti indicated, it's the intent to make sure that he brings everything into compliance. We understand, that there are procedures that we have to, there are certain protocols that have to be followed, and we intend to follow everything accordingly. So what we put in our narrative, that's the way it's going to be operated, and I have absolutely no issue that we would submit that as a numbered, if you wish to just have it as numbered conditions for the grant of the special permit.
All right. I would at least, am I on mute? All right, I'm not on mute. I would at least like to know your hours of operation. I know you said 10 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Correct, Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
All right. So hours of operation, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Correct.
You're going to put in your letter no more than 2 dogs.
No more, only one dog at a time.
You're going to put no more than 2 dogs in the.
It's in the.
Because you've got on your.
I just,
I'm sorry.
I want to say something. What?
Who would like to say something? Go right ahead.
Yeah.
Benson.
Hi. Yeah, we only have one dog of our own because about 4 days ago we lost our elderly dog. So we don't have 2 dogs of our own anymore. I only do that's why I have a sad look on my face, because we had our dog for 14 years. And he died of old age the other day. I try to treat every dog that I groom the way I'd want someone to treat one of my boys. You know?
I am sorry for your loss. I know a lot of us are pet owners. Yeah.
It's not, especially with our kids.
Yep, it's not easy at all. It's never easy to lose a pet.
Yeah.
I don't have 2 dogs of my own anymore, but I only do 1 dog at a time so they can get individual attention and love that they deserve.
And, Mr. Chairman, I believe that the reference point was to the operation of the business. So, in my cover letter, what I'm referring to is that for dogs that are being brought to be groomed, there'll only be 1 dog at a time. And that is also to be part of the reason why there's this half-hour buffer built into the also to assure that there's only going to be 1 there, and to give that sufficient time that while someone is picking up and leaving, there's a half-hour gap so that the next person that comes in isn't going to overlap. So, you know, it's only one dog is groomed at a time.
Anything else, board members?
No.
In a public hearing, we'll open it to the public at this time. If there's anyone here who'd like to speak.
No calls, Mr. Chairman.
Anything else, Mr. Plunkett?
That's it, Mr. Chairman. I just thank you and the board members for the, hearing our application. Just again, I think that this is something that really fits into the town, this area, and will be run in a very proper manner as set forth in the narrative. And we ask for your approval of the submittal before you tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Plunkett. Anything else, Attorney's rules?
No, nothing else. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so if we have nothing else, if somebody would like to make a motion to close both parts of the hearing.
So moved.
All right, so motion's been made to close both parts of the hearing. Someone's got a second it, Nancy.
Oh, I second it. I'm sorry.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, any discussion from us? So what it boils down to is, and I know we all understand this, they opened a dog grooming business thinking they were in a commercial district. They weren't, they were in residential. They also have the ongoing pool saga. So they built a pool without a permit. So this all wraps around. If they are approved tonight, it hinges on them getting a permit and doing the right thing with the pool. But on top of that, I always like to, when these cases come by, make conditions. I know Attorney Zaroulis talked about having a cover letter from Attorney Plunkett, but I like to make conditions with hours of operation, basically everything that's on 3320. 3320 states home occupation may be allowed by special permit issued by the Board of Appeals, provided that it, and then you go fully complies with 3312, 3313, 3314, and 3317 above. So we all know that it clearly incidental and secondary to the use of the premises does not produce. This was all the stuff Attorney Plunkett read to us. So we know that they have to comply to that. They have to register as a business with the town clerk. But we need to put as a condition the hours of operation, which they've stated as 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. We need to make a condition that there will be one dog at a time for grooming. And that's it. Everything else is covered under Section 3320.
May I interject, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
Don't forget my 3 conditions. Should also be incorporated in the decision.
Yep, you're referring to
The stipulation of the 3 conditions that Attorney Plunkett and I have agreed upon.
and that was
That was a document that you received, the board received yesterday by email.
Town reimbursement for the town, and accurate application of building permit.
Yes. And,
Okay. And I think, see, right, the third one.
Not conduct
Cool.
any business until the building department approves in writing all work regarding the swimming pool. Those 3 conditions should be incorporated also into your decision.
right. So we can just reference. We can reference the email stipulation of conditions.
Yes. That would be the stipulation that was filed with the board. Stipulation of conditions, which is signed by me on 11/17/20.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. If there's no further discussion, If somebody would like to make a motion,
Make a motion to grant the special permit under section 3320 of the Tewksbury zoning bylaw to establish a home occupation as shown on the plans filed with this board. And the property is located at 77 Chandler Street in the assessor's map of 76 lot 4, zoned residential. Permit to be held till the following conditions that it in operation Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., one dog at a time. And also to under the stipulations that under sections 3312, 3313, and 3314 of 3320, the applicant will register as a business with the town clerk pursuant to 3317 upon receipt of the special permit, and based also on the requests by the attorney Zeroulas to reimburse the town for its legal costs stipulated in the memo for the town of Tewksbury, and of $285 delivered to attorney Zeroulas, town council. Submit a complete and accurate application for a building permit approved by the building department for the swimming pool and deck on or before January 1st, 2021. Obtain a building permit and approval by the building department of all work. Not conduct any dog grooming services of any kind whatsoever until conditions number 1 and 2 have been complied with and the building department approves in writing all work regarding the swimming pool and deck, and notwithstanding the granting the special permit, such permit will not issue until Genetti and Crowley comply with the above conditions.
let's just reference this letter signed by Attorney Zeroulas
Referencing the letter by attorney Zeroulas.
on 11/17/20.
11/17/20.
It's actually a condition signed by both parties. It's a stipulation signed by both parties.
Stipulation being signed by both parties.
Yeah, the stipulation I submitted entitled Stipulation of Conditions is signed by both parties.
I see that. I see that.
And on the last page, Attorney Plunkett.
Yes, and the second page with attorney Plunkett signing off on the stipulations.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous vote. We got an aye from Dan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman and board members. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you for your attention. And again, thank you very much on behalf of our client. Thank you.
Now, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
And we are going to make everything right. We appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Good luck. All right, so we have some new business. Anybody have any old business? Okay, we have some new business. Nope. All right. New business is our calendar. So this is the proposed 2021 meeting schedule. All right, so we need to, did everyone see the meeting schedule?
No.
The last thing in your packet.
Mm-hmm.
We actually have to vote on it or make changes as we see fit. My wife is in the other room, so I have no changes.
I make a motion to approve the 2021 meeting calendar.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ray?
Aye.
And Dan? Dan's got
Thumbs
a
up.
again. All right, so that's a unanimous vote. Anything else, board members? All right.
Nope.
I want to wish everyone a happy and safe Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Thank you, you too.
All
Yeah, everything's given.
very well. Thank you.
Thank you for coming to the meeting a week early. We usually forget about this one, so it was nice that everyone showed up. That's all I got. Somebody'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
second.
Made and second, all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Good
Thank
night,
you.
everyone.
Good night.
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 So Ninja, basically